All right, hey everybody. Welcome to meeting number 2. It's our second live meeting of 100 TV. The creative producers are getting together. And before we get into our new business, we do want to welcome 3 new members, 3 new creative partners, talk show hosts, contributors. I guess everybody's sort of got a little bit of a different role. But Jodi Krangle is joining us. She's a voiceover artist, also DJ Strick and Rick Savoya. Did I pronounce that right, Rick?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, Rick Savoya are joining us as hosts. And welcome. It's great to have you with us. DJ will be joining us in a little bit. Definitely, maybe Jodi will be joining us as well. And so with that, why don't we just go around the room? Everybody say your name and the name of your show. And if you want to say a line about your show, we can do that as well. I'm Ross Brand. My show's 100 Predictions, and I cover digital trends and trending topics in the digital media world. Rick?
Oh, I'm Rick Savoya. I actually have a couple of shows, podcasts, but I think the one that is probably of interest to most here would be Drink with Rick. And that's a show about wine and entertainment.
Joey?
Hi, so my show is going to be the Red Carpet Guide to Visibility Influence. It's all about social media marketing strategies, and it's based on my first book.
First of all, I love the title, Drink with Rick. That just sounds like a great time. Hi, everybody. I am Daniel Witzel. I'm the Rad Travel Dad. And like the title says, I am a travel expert. So I'm going to be doing a show called Where in the World here on the 100 Network. Just taking you around the world to all kinds of new places with some amazing guests. So,
all right. And the great Lee Love is here. Lee, introduce yourself, your name, and what the name of your show is, and maybe a sentence or two about what it's about.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great.
Okay, just had to change all my audio up from last night. My name is Lee Love, and I'm a commercial photographer, and I do a lot of education for new photographers. I have a site called Photo Mentor Academy, and so I am not sure which show I'm going to do for this. I have a new show I've created, but it's only a 15-minute show called Photo Mentor Minutes. But I am considering doing an interview show with well-known photographers for 100 TV Network. So that's what I'm thinking about.
Cool.
So we'll see.
All right. So let's get to the agenda. Did anybody want to... we'll just go around the horn. Everybody can take a turn leading one of the discussions. Who wants to start with item number 1?
Let's open the agenda to start with. That'd be a good idea, huh? If I can find it. Okay, here we go.
Launch date. Okay. Committees, pre-launch live stream series. Okay. I want to do number 3 just because the third on the agenda, because
okay,
that makes sense for the right.
All right. I'll start with number 1 then. Launch date. We had a varied discussion last meeting about when we could launch. I think 3 options were shared during the week in the group. April 3rd, which is a Monday, April 17th, which is a Monday, and May 1st, which is a Monday as well. Where does everybody stand on those 3 options? Any preferences, any thoughts?
I'm good whenever. I'll just schedule it.
Well, how many people do you want to have available or shows available to go live, Ross? Have you thought about that?
As many creators that are in the network, if everybody could have their shows ready. But I mean, I don't know that everybody has to be ready on day 1, but it would be great if we had a nice full day and lineup of shows where it's just like, boom, here's your full day of independent creators and their shows on 100 TV.
Before I actually chime in on this myself on the launch date, because I do have some thoughts on it, I guess I really need to ask a few questions about the
No questions
programming
allowed.
itself.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, it's all related. It's all related to this launch date because,
Sure.
I mean, as was brought up a few moments ago, the number of shows that are going to be available and how they're going to be presented, the frequency that they're going to be presented. I understand this is going to be 24/7 network, right? It's going to be streaming 24/7 on YouTube.
That's the goal.
Okay.
But, we may start with 6 hours on the first Monday or something like that, or 4 hours, or depends how many creators we have. Mm-hmm. And then we can, I think it's going to have to be a committee is going to be probably looking into how we distribute the content and what's realistic. There's a lot of different ways we could handle what to do in the off hours, which is just be uploading on demand videos that were, say, part of the streaming, but then we load them on demand and on a schedule. There's several different ways we could probably handle that.
Okay, these would be pretty much scheduled and slotted, right, for half an hour or whatever. And are they going to cycle the same episodes? You're going to cycle through a few times during that week, or before the next episode for each one of these drops, that sort of thing? Or
I think we'd have to do that, don't you think? It's kind of like a TV station, right? Where you kind of replay the stuff at night or something like that in different hours. That would be my guess.
I would think so. And there's, I think this is probably this can get very in the weeds because there's a lot of little logistics to work on. But I think it shouldn't. I think it shouldn't hold us back from getting started. Like if in the beginning we have 5 shows on Monday and 4 shows on, or 5 shows on Monday and 6 shows on Tuesday, and that's how we launch, or we launch with 11 shows on Monday or whatever, it's probably better to have one day with, streaming content and then everything sort of filters into on demand than to hold off launching until we know exactly how we can be live 24/7. There are different technical solutions we could come up with, I think, to be able to loop that or reschedule it again, but that'll all have to take some looking into, and what the logistics are, the cost. Are we able to manage that or not?
Yeah, hey, Rick, was there a different kind of background behind that question? Were you thinking about something else about why that is an issue for you or not an issue?
Well, not so much for me. It's just that as far as the network itself, obviously, once the network goes up and you want to have it there consistently, and you want to have everything ready before it goes up, if you've got your lineup there, if you know what your lineup is going to be, then it's much easier to set a specific launch date because everything's planned and in place, rather than having to say, okay, we have a March date of, I was watching last week's live event here, and it was brought up, well, I think one person insisted that they wanted it to go up on April 1st, which I thought was kind of soon, considering the ambitiousness of the whole network. It seems a bit much. If I may, just for a second, my background, this is part of my background, actually. I have 14 years in broadcasting, in television broadcasting specifically. I worked for WOFL when it was a startup before it became part of the Fox network. And I was with them, with WOFL when it became a Fox affiliate. And then when Fox went out and bought the stations, I had left before then. But I went to WRBW, which was a startup at the time in 1994. And I actually was on the ground crew to help start the station. And my job duties include being the program coordinator and the promotion coordinator. And preparing all of the programs for air and planning everything, all our program schedule and everything like that was going to go up. I wore a lot of hats there, as we often did in those days, because when you're in a startup, you're wearing, I did a lot of voiceover work like Jodi does. I did a lot of production work, post-production work, editing, things like that, writing, a lot of different things, but a lot of my energy was also focused in preparing for this launch when we launched. Now, even when Fox, if you recall, when the Fox network debuted back in the 90s, and I was there for that, when we became a Fox affiliate and Fox is only streaming one night a week for starters, and then 2 nights a week, and they only did it for a 2-hour block for that one night, and then went to 2 nights, and then 3 nights, and then over time they expanded it to 4 hours of the network block and prime time, and until they were a full affiliate. But that took a while. So it does factor in all of the programming and everything. It factors into when the launch date's going to be, because when you launch, you obviously you want to launch with a bang. You don't want to just come out and say, well, here's some shows, and you want it to be as smooth a launch as possible, I would imagine.
I would just listen, guys. I would just think everything's going to get tweaked as time goes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would go to the network, collaborators, content creators. I would ask them to have so many shows ready, right? And then I would back into it, right? Because right now the most important thing is just to build an audience, and the audience is going to tell you what they want after a while, right? Because of the way that this content is getting distributed, right? So I think not getting so lost in like the scheduling and all that, but getting lost in the pre-marketing, the branding, the marketing, and then going live, and then being interactive with the audience out there, and they'll tell you what they want.
Well, Jim Fuhs
it's getting down to numbers anyways, right?
Right. Jim Fuhs is in the chat. He's one of our creative partners, host. He thinks May 1st. I would be good with May 1st because it actually allows us to do some pre-launch programming. But, I think there's nobody among us who couldn't get a show together and a couple of half-an-hour episodes ready if we were going to launch in a week or two. But I would say maybe, hey, Bridgetti, welcome.
Hi. Oh, I love you in red.
Hi, everyone.
Tell us, just tell us a little bit about what show you're thinking of hosting for 100 TV, and then we'll get back to the discussion.
Sure. So my main shows would be author interviews. I actually have 2 of them. Writers Corner Live show has been going for almost 6 years, and then Books with Bridgetti. I do a couple of other shows, but those are my 2 main shows about authors.
All right. So, could we all live with May 1st, or let me ask this way: who does anybody want sooner than May 1st? Is anybody ready to go April 1st or mid-April?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And I think we need the time to get some content together. Like even if we are doing once a week for 6 hours or whatever that may start as, it needs to have some content built up in the can for all of us. So I know that one show by May 1st may be the goal, but we ultimately need to have more than that, in the can, ready to go and uploaded, sitting on private, waiting to go. So.
All right, DJ Strick is here. Welcome.
Hey guys.
Tell us real quick, the name of your show and a sentence or two about what it's going to be about.
That's a good question. I'm still trying to work on one or two
Hey,
things.
all right. The more we're talking, I'm thinking maybe, the Indian test pattern would be at my show, and I'll just run that for 30 minutes. Can I do that?
Hey, if it gets ratings, it's the old thing. Whatever we can sell advertising against is
As
just
Rich
wonderful.
talking about it, I'm thinking the whole time. I remember back those days very well. I'm thinking, well, that would be perfect for me.
So, could everybody do May 1st if we agreed on May 1st? Is that realistic for everybody?
Yeah, because we still have to do. There has to be some kind of thread of branding that goes on the bumper videos, right?
Mhm.
So that's something to keep in mind too, because then that will. Some people like myself, I don't need to edit. I can just go ahead and record live and then bring in the bumper videos. And then other people that love to edit, because I know some of you guys are awesome editors here too. So I think if that would give us that should be plenty of time for us to distribute the branding and everyone sign off on it and everything, so everyone has it so they can get their shows in the can, right?
So May 1st it is?
Sounds like a good target.
Okay. Sounds
I
good.
agree. I know you asked me a question. Just to give you an idea, it's all about content creation, and I like to do interview shows, so I will be bringing on other content creators talking about the whole process.
Cool.
Ooh.
Cool. All right. So let's go with May 1st for now. And the second topic deals with our committees. Anybody want to take number 2?
I say we have committees. Okay, next item number 3.
Yeah.
Like, what committees would you like?
Yeah.
Can you put the committee, whatever committee is, like we have our own thread in Facebook? So
Yes. So it's going to be.
2 or 3.
You can even have your own live stream for your committee if you.
I would say the recreation committee, the landscaping committee, and the wait a minute. It was the wrong group.
Yes, the social committee, the fundraising committee.
Well, I tell you one, it's not on here, but one of the committees I sort of just told Ross I'd help with is looking at other platforms we could be on as well as looking, and this is something that maybe Rick, maybe you're interested in as well, and him working with, and that is looking at the software to do scheduling. So some of the things I've been looking at would be like a system we could preload all the programs in, and that would play at certain times of the day and that kind of stuff, like a cart machine. And then that
Cart machines, those go way back.
It does.
So,
It does.
I still have some audio cart machines if you're interested in one. But
good.
anyway, so you get the idea. So something like that would be a virtual system like that. So those are the 2 things I've kind of been working on with Ross behind the scenes. I don't know if that fits in one of the committees or not.
That's cool.
I think
That's like
let's take a look. Let's take a look at what this is. What was suggested in the group. We have branding committee, videos dealing with doing promo and social media videos, a website / email committee, YouTube channel, everything related to policies, procedures, how we deliver the content, all that, and then a monetization channel. So I guess what you're thinking of, Lee, could kind of, we could change the name, but it kind of falls under the YouTube area because right now that's our first distribution point, but obviously we could always, if we grow, whatever, we could always look into other places to distribute. But any technology that would make it easier on us to line up our shows and stream them and automate things maybe a little bit, anything that makes life easier on us, any technology solution, perhaps there's a brand that would like to
That's great.
do it in exchange for a sponsorship, because
I'll
there
say-
aren't too many people right now doing what we're doing, so it would be certainly something we could role model for a brand, maybe. Just a thought.
Well, I'll tell you, I draw the line at branding. I am not getting a tattoo. Sorry. Is that the kind of branding you're talking about, or is there a different kind of branding?
So I think it should be
I don't want to be a switcher.
marketing. I think
Go ahead, Joey.
I think there should be a committee that's branding / marketing because
Right. Okay.
it's hand in hand. You know what I mean? It's just hand in hand, right? So I would like to be in that committee, and anyone else that wants to be in that committee, please jump into the committee.
Yeah, I'd be happy to join that committee.
Yay! Okay, cool. My committee's A-listers like it.
Hey, I would like to. I don't know if Lee said he wants to do it, but the whole scheduling piece, or
It's not just me. Hey, Strick, it's not just me. If anybody can work on it, I'm just kind of starting the ball rolling. But I've got to. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, let's talk about it. I'll show you what I'm working on or what I've found. You show me what you've found. We can kind of compare notes.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
So are there any other committees?
Lee, you're supposed to ask everybody else if they have a committee they'd like to be a part of.
Oh, okay. No, that's it. Just Strick, man. Nobody else. Sorry, it's very exclusive.
No. The agenda. Everybody needs a committee, not just
our committee. Our committee's very, very stringent. We don't just let it. Ross isn't even allowed in our committee, by the way. That tells you how
marketing committee.
Hey.
We're inclusive. Branding and marketing is inclusive.
Yeah. So we're just the opposite in our committee.
I don't want to be a part of any committee that would have me as a member.
Yeah, there you go. Right. That's it.
So what else do we have, Lee?
Oh, what else?
Monetization and website email.
I know Sue Ann expressed interest. I don't want to talk for anybody who's not here, but I know she expressed interest in the website, especially the blogging aspect of things.
That would be great if she would jump into that committee. She's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm happy to head up that one as well. So,
okay, cool.
Daniel, that's great. Oh, that's cool.
And I think what Sue, not to say that she can't design a website, I'm not sure of her skills, but I know that she was specifically referring to like the blog optimization and all that kind of stuff.
I think her expertise would be more suited to tapping the blog stuff more so than the website. So,
and I'm happy to be complimented by somebody on that side. So
perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys would bring really good complementary skills. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me get back to my notes here. Okay, so what do we have? We have all right. I'll jump into the monetization committee.
The monetization.
That's a biggie.
And then let's see. So everybody here, Rick, which one did you have one you wanted to? And you're not held to it forever, but just for sorting.
I'm not really sure yet. To be honest, I don't know how much of my time I can allot to any specific committee, but because I have my day job, which is basically almost 24/7 on its own. But I mean, the website, somewhat maybe, the branding, promo videos. I mean, any of these committees, I have experience in doing a lot of these different things. So, except the monetization, I was never part of the sales department at the TV station where I worked. I never really done well, even on my own, as far as going out to get find monetization. I'll be honest, when I started my first couple of podcasts and the advertisers came to me, I didn't go looking for it. They just came to me, and I just said, yeah, okay, I'll do that, or no, it's not really my cup of tea, that sort of thing. So it wasn't sort of thing where I was ever really going out looking for advertisers. I'm not very good at door to door.
All right, so we've got so far. We have branding, marketing would be Joie and Bridgetti, YouTube and content delivery and YouTube policies, all that kind of stuff would be DJ and Lee, and in the monetization, website, email would be Sue Ann and Daniel, and for now Rick is in video production. I'm sure there's other people who are going to want to join that as well.
I could do some of the branding if you want along those lines. That'd be okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jodi Krangle.
Hey, Jodi.
one of our
Hello,
newest,
hello. Hi.
one of our
Yeah, let's
newest
hear the
My
golden
bad.
voice.
creative partners. So, since you'll be doing the voiceovers, Jodi, I assume that would fall under video production, since you'd be doing the voiceovers for that. We're kind of putting into committees for the purpose of organizing and breaking down the work. So
I don't know anything about video production, but sure.
well,
Just like audio production, but with video, Jody. It's no big deal.
I will pass on my WAV files to
If you would
whoever is
like-
making it.
if you would like to work completely by yourself, we could have an audio committee, and that audio committee could be a subset of the video committee. But
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay.
I will be contributing WAV files. That's what will happen.
okay,
I'm happy to participate on the video, specifically on like promotional side. So
sure.
Awesome.
I guess more social side, but yeah, whatever.
And who was that was just speaking? I was in another window.
That was Daniel.
Daniel. Okay.
Yes.
So
The Rad
right.
Travel Down.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll put a post in the Facebook group, and groups can just manage themselves. Like whenever you guys want to get started on, hopefully
Yeah,
sooner
we
than
can
later.
start on threads and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
So that way we can be.
And it can be open to everybody, so everything's, anybody can drop in and help out, or when you want somebody to come and lend a hand, whatever. But definitely form your own thread or your own post or whatever where you're doing the work, so that we can concentrate on where we want to go.
I'm ready to go whenever people have scripts.
Okay.
So
that would be like that's a great question, right? So in branding, right? We'll help develop a script template at least, right? So that then everyone else can fill in the gaps probably, and then that way, right? It could go because
it can be personalized to each show, definitely. I would prefer that each of you have a say in what's going into your script, obviously.
But don't you think it should have like, okay,
we
the
need
time
some
it's going to be
music.
on and that kind of stuff, a format? Do you follow?
it has to at least say 100 TV. It is what I'm
Right,
trying to
like
say.
Yeah.
watch.
I mean, it can't. And if you wait on everyone to come up with a script, Jodi, you'll be waiting a long time.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know like when the right time. I don't know when the right time is for us to dive down this, but I think like we need those branding show guidelines. How is the advertisement working? Like where are those tags going in? Like all of that almost needs to be developed before we do anything production wise. Because I don't know if we're supposed to mention in our shows 100 TV network, or if that's something that's getting tagged after the show. And to what extent? Like that's all the details that I think we need to really iron out. Like.
I
as soon as
think
possible.
that has to be the first step, because with my other network, we had to start there, right?
Yeah.
Then the talent, because the talent otherwise are just like, what do I do next? And I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah. And is that a branding committee thing, or is that a from up above? Ross, you want to set some guidelines? I don't know.
Well, once you know what the different pieces are that you need,
Yeah.
then it can just be personalized to each show
exactly.
with
Yeah.
those pieces. Yeah.
Because I think you, Jodi, may be doing like the sponsorship tags or the 100 network tags or something like that that go in between or during shows,
Yeah.
Mid-roll, however we want to work it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So once we have those guidelines, I think we can get a better idea of what we're providing you. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, generally,
do
I work
certainly
when I
have-
have a script.
yeah,
So-
you do certainly have the golden voice. So yeah.
Sounds great over here for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
it can be stylized to each of your shows. It's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
me, but
Yes,
me with a little more pep, or me with a little bit of a relaxed, vibe kind
yeah,
of deal.
she's
So
showing
like it just
off.
depends. It depends on what you want for your show. So each
Yes,
can be
yes.
different.
So you want to
Yeah.
write down all the good things you wish somebody would say about you, but you can't say when
That's
you do
what you
your
have
own
a voice
open.
actor for. Exactly.
And we give it to Jodi, and then she says, "Coming up on Monday, it's the best photographer in the universe, Leela."
The cranky photographer. That's the show I'm going for. The cranky photographer.
But that's totally why you have someone doing your intro, right? So that
Right.
they can say nice things about you so that you don't have to say it about yourself.
And if we use that like only on 100 TV,
Mhm.
because each of the shows that we bring will be unique to 100 TV, we won't be doing a show that we're doing somewhere else. So everybody can, every time we have something specific for a show, watch Bridgetti's author interviews only on 100 TV. Watch Joie Gharrity's red carpet interviews only on 100 TV. Maybe that can be our kind of unifier.
And I'm sure that over, certain holidays, certain times of the year, certain promotions you may want to do, there will be different things in between. So, let me know.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry. Just something popped in my head just now. I could hear you saying this. Coming up next, the lunch I had last night only on 100 TV. I'm like, I don't think we.
It would be the wine I had in your case. Yes.
But
so Lee, we good with item number 2?
Oh, I didn't realize this. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, let's move
Lee,
on.
you did a great
Joey,
job
number 3.
So
Lee did a
number 3 is
beautiful
all
job.
about the pre-launch live stream series, Egos Aside, and about what that might look like. And I think that the strategy behind it is, content is, I always call it queen personally, but content is queen, right, on every single step of the road. And so you might as well put a $ everywhere you possibly can. So this would be driving it in from a, basically like Real World meets, right, Shark Tank meets kind of an idea where the monetizing committee, which is just one right now, Ross, but I'm sure there'll be others in there, can go out and go pitch this, where we can pitch this as a real reality show, and people can be watching the process of 11 plus contenters coming together. And because all of us are quirky, typically, I'm just going to speak for myself, but most of the time content creators are quirky. And we're used to running our own shows, right? We're used to being our own little stars, right? That I think it can make for really good, some really good reality moments.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the show you're going to be doing?
I'm not going to do that. No, this would be the show right now that we're doing right now.
on the
okay.
show.
Okay.
So we would pitch it to a platform.
Okay.
We would pitch it to StreamYard or,
I see.
right now, so I won't say the other platforms, but we would pitch it to them as like a real world training ground, right? Because this hasn't been done yet, and Real World changed the entire media history in terms of what it did, good or bad, doesn't matter, right? Reality TV was birthed, right? So this is the new spin on reality TV, because in Ross's prediction book, I predict that we will be the new reality stars, real reality stars, that we have that potential. If you want to be, if you don't have to be, but the live shows lend themselves to that, right? Because there's people, like I just had a guest on, I won't drop who it is because I want to save it for next week, but she brought on some really behind the scenes of working in Hollywood and that kind of thing. And she's said things that most likely people aren't going to say if it's not live. And she was even like, oh, I just said that. I'm like, but it's live, right? So, and I don't edit my shows, right? And so anyway, so that's the idea, is to bring on a dollar sign earlier than later.
You know that most reality shows are heavily edited, and a lot of them are actually heavily scripted.
Yes.
They're not. Reality shows are probably some of the most unreality of shows. So,
that's why live is real.
Otherwise, they get boring.
That's why live is real.
That's true.
So I actually, one of my best friends is one of the first Real World directors and stuff, and so reality. But when it first started, they hadn't started scripting at that level yet, right? Until the demand became very big out there, right? And then everyone wanted to be their own persona, right? So this would be real, like where there will be no editing and everyone says their piece. And sometimes, again, you get this many leaders together, this many star power together, there's going to be some organic conflict at times. And there's going to also be some lifting each other up. You know what I mean? That's just being human.
As long as it's not 100 TV network naked, I'm okay.
Naked and afraid.
Please do that, because then it would be so sellable. Like, you'd be an instant star.
Well, that could be on the Plus channel or what. That's how Big Brother Overnight or whatever.
Awesome.
Demonetize the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was me, the network would be losing viewers right away.
I don't know.
Well, mine would be heavily AI, so it's okay.
Like, I don't really know. To me, I think I don't really know what the downside to this would be. Like, I don't see a downside to doing this. I mean, then at least, listen, even if the big brands are like, yeah, we're not interested, which would be crazy, because just the social media influence numbers alone. Okay. But let's just say they said that. Okay. But at least now you're on their radar. At least now they're paying attention, right? They're like, oh, these guys are doing this. Maybe it's not right for us, but maybe we should pay some attention to what they're doing to set it up for the monetizing committee, a little bit of an easier pitch for next round. You know what I mean?
Well, that brings up a question in about creating some kind of a buzz. What's our hook? What, other than just having a whole bunch of creators, what's the hook that would get them to say, wow, this is really unique? I mean, we know they're just getting people
live. Like right now, we're like no one else is having meetings live and telling their truth to the marketplace and saying, come join us. Like, usually all these meetings are behind closed doors, right?
Right. There is such a thing as being too honest, and because sometimes that can intimidate.
Hey, hush up. We don't want to hear that crap. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what you're talking about? Like that?
There is such a thing as being a little bit too honest and a little bit too forward, and that it can have the reverse effect at times. That's why I would say that some discretion.
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier. It's all about the audience, and that's what, and Ross said, it's all about the audience. If they respond, great. If they don't, then we switch gears.
Well, either way, let's say we're launching. First of all, hey Jeff, good to be here. Good to see you. First of all, we're launching. Let's say we're launching on May 1st, right? So either way, we have a program, so to speak, of action and content that's going to be coming regardless how this turns out, right? Regardless of the audience, this is a way to build interest for what we're doing, but also it's a way to monetize beforehand and get people on board. It's sort of dripping out. I assume everybody looked at the kind of the pitch that I put together about it. I mean, so we frame it as, here's 4 weeks, a bunch of solo creators who've been working in their own silos, who are used to being their own boss and their own star. Can they come together in 4 weeks and build a network and get it done in time to launch on May 1st? Now, we're all going to have committees, like, so let's say there are 5 committees, right? So each committee can meet once a week, and that committee meeting could be that day's content. So it's always sort of fresh. It's always turning over. And it's work that we're all going to have to do anyway. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just pontificating on things. It could be like, let's design the thumbnail together and, hey, or somebody comes with 4 options and it's like you discuss how best to blend them together to make one super awesome thumbnail, or, doing video production and the elements we want and don't want. I mean, there's so many little things that we have to do anyway. Why not do it on camera and perhaps get paid for doing it?
Well, I think,
and create some buzz at the same time.
I think one of the things you have to keep in mind, Ross, is that no matter what it is you're producing, it could be a book, it could be a comic book, it could be a TV show. It has to have a story to it. There's got to be a story and a structure. If there's not, people are not going to be interested. It's just the way people learn. It's the way we listen. And so I think we're naive if we think we can just get on here and chat, because now all of a sudden we're just a fancy Zoom call. So I think that we should consider, I'm just saying this, consider this, some kind of a structure, some kind of character, if you will. In other words, each of us has our own personality. We should exploit that. And then the idea is, so at least not a script. I wouldn't script the thing, but at least an outline. Like, okay, all right, Lee, you're going to talk about this week. You're going to bring up this controversial topic we discussed. Something like that. So that there's at least some tension and some, well, how are they going to resolve this kind of a thing? If we don't do that, I think it's just going to be a boring Zoom call. Personally, that's the way I think it should work.
Well, I think, Lee, if you just do you, there'll always be a little bit of tension on a call.
Well, look, I'm a professional antagonist. That's not a problem for me. But, the rest of you guys might be offended. Next thing I'll be here on Hollywood Squares by myself.
Hey, you're in the center square today.
I know.
You're carrying the show.
Like that.
And to your point, that right now, the way this is being handled at this very moment isn't interesting. Okay, because it's just people coming together and being polite and saying, how do we kind of want to make this rock and roll? Okay. The structural component around it is that no one here has done this yet. We've all had big backgrounds, right? We've had some sort of media background of some way, right? But however, like structuring it where it's just like week one, we got to get this done. Oh, and we all have our own shows and our own businesses and families. And I have 2 puppies I just inherited because my dad just passed away, right? They're very cute though. I love them, but they take up room. They take up time, right? And so having a structural time commitment of each division has to meet its deadlines, and having discussion and then opening it up to the rest of the community online. And some people are like, this, we hate this. This sucks. We like this. You know how it goes, right? Kind of a thing, right? Doing it like that with these pressure cookers, right? I think in that structural, you're going to organically have tension. You're going to have some kind of emotion, because we can't make this our full-time job. We can't, right?
And we'd actually be doing the work of building the channel, whereas right now we're just sort of discussing the parameters. When do we want to launch? Who's going to be in what committee? Do we want to do a pre-launch show? Is everybody on board? But once we were launched this, there's storylines that are right there, and we can have an idea what each kind of episode is going to be about, and then we can put that ask sort of out, like, okay, they're going to work on this, or see them work behind to create the first XYZ for this story. And then when there's clashes and different things, assuming nothing breaks or whatever, there comes shorts and reels and TikToks and all sorts of great content that comes out of that in order to spur people to tune in. So it builds. But I also think just the doing it is a win, because nobody's doing it. And so we're learning how to kind of do something like this, so that perhaps in addition to doing our pre-recorded, streamed content, on-demand content, linear content, maybe we have the ability to produce more real reality type content for the network that becomes another stream of revenue down the road. I think there's a lot of pluses, even no matter how it turns out. But Joey, back to you.
Well, we haven't heard from DJ, and we haven't heard from Jeffrey. And so and to your point too, Lee, when it comes down to the creative pieces being delivered and like what they're gonna look like, there's gonna be some there's going to be some discussions because everyone here is a content creator and they want things to look a certain way. It's just going to be, I mean, I can't wait to like deliver the branding and hear all the feedback. It's a good thing I have a very thick skin, right? Because everyone here is a content creator. You know what I mean? So there will be, I'm sure there will be plenty of stuff there. So DJ, so what do you think?
Hey, look, I disagree. I'm fine. I get along with everybody. I don't want to hear that crap.
Lee, you just show up naked every single time, please. Please, I'm begging you.
No, that's not going to happen. But thank you very much.
Lee is something else. So I really love this concept. Let me say that first of all. I've heard people talk about this, but for us to be on this call today to be able to discuss it, and even furthermore, trying our best to come up with committees to make this thing happen, that's a huge win for all of us. I want to be a part of it because I do think that it's something that would be very novel, and who wouldn't? Like, you have to make a choice. Like, you say, nah, haven't been done. People are not doing this. I got other stuff to do because we all have other things to do. Or would you want to be on a team that started something from ground zero and built it, and it was successful? Because sometimes what's different works.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's interesting. Like, no, it's interesting. Like, no one else is doing. Whether you like reality shows or not doesn't matter. It's taking over television. I mean, we all know that, right? But
Well,
this is an interesting. It's an interesting take on it that we're real, because I foresee that there will be a point where even Bravo is not going to be able to edit reality after a while, because people are going to push back, because they're going to be like, no, I want to be with them in real time, with the reality stars themselves, right? Which they don't want yet, but they might be forced into it because of where we're heading right now.
right. So as we are all collectively here, and definitely we have to kind of find some synergy inside of, I guess, behind the scenes, in front of the camera. Is that what this is right now? Because I may be a little confused myself about even the call today, and I want to be sure I have an understanding, because this is behind the scenes, but we're also broadcasting this.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay. So you're going to say, all right, I'm out. No.
No, I didn't.
That's right. We have 1.5 viewers right now.
I have
I'll
to say,
take that.
I'm usually behind the camera, not in front of it. So
You should have worn my other hat.
Jodi, you're so pretty. Okay. And here's what this is what I'm saying too. Think about Jodi, for instance. Okay. She has notoriety because of her voice, right? So her being on the camera now and then taking this kind of different, unique point of view on things, that's interesting.
Right.
And what is people craving out there right now? Interesting. It's boring. You know what I mean? So
Well, it's only interesting, though, if there's a story developed. Number one, I don't know Jodi. I've never met her. I didn't even know she was a voice actor. I mean, it isn't until today or so. To me, that means nothing. So my concern is I don't want to get into the routine where we think build it and they will come, because that doesn't happen. There's got to be some tension, some structure.
But Lee, we haven't started yet, brother, because we first
No.
I'm
I'm just
interested. No,
Right.
that's what I'm trying to say. You keep acting like we haven't, like, we understand the production end of things, right?
Okay.
I have a major background in Hollywood too, right? And so what I'm just saying is Ross and I, because we're a collective, we just had to bring the agenda item to the group first and even see if there's an interest, because we're not going to put time and energy, which we don't have a lot of time right now, right?
Fair enough.
Okay. So until everyone says, yes, I want to do this, right? We can't come back to the agenda item because we can't spin our wheels, right? So that's
We also can't reach out to a sponsor.
What?
We also can't reach out to a sponsor and say we're going to have
Can't do anything, because
10 or 11 creators if we end up having 4, and then we end up, nobody wants to do it. So we have to know if everybody's on board, and then we can
So
push
then
forward, and then
the-
storyline, production, all those things can come
we have to
together.
learn the pitch. We don't even have a pitch right now, and that's got to be the first thing that we start walking into, right? It's just like, and we got to do some feelers. Is there even going to be a platform or brand that even gives a hoot, right? They might come back and say, we don't care. And then we're like, okay, like, let's not waste any more time and energy on this, right?
We don't care that they don't care.
But
We care. That's all that matters, right?
Well, that gets to the point about build it and they will come. It's a matter of who's the they that we're talking about, because it's not going to be for everyone. First, you have to find the audience and who's going to be interested in this type of thing, because it's a little bit niche and not everyone's going to be into it. In terms of who build it and they will come, I mean, where that line was taken, unless you were a baseball fan, you wouldn't go, to that particular ball field for that particular event in the movie. So, you have to find the audience first. You have to know if the audience is going to be there in a sufficient quantity so that you could get advertisers for it. I mean, I'm not being a downer here. It's just a realistic
question with this agenda item, because I love that this is my agenda item, is yes or no, because we can't collect, of course, we would have to put together, we would all have to do a call to action. We have to get our fans here. We have to get people to even know we're even doing this right now. I might have been the only person that shared this today, right? Because I know I shared it, but I mean, I'm the only one that shared it, but we would have to do it.
I shared it as well.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yep.
We'd have to do it, but you have to be very strategic. And what we share is like, why should you bother and this and that? But there's no reason to have another step, another conversation about any of this until everyone tells us if you're interested or not. Because then we can't do any more energy into this. None.
Yeah. I let me make sure I'm clear about this. I think it's a great idea. I do. And I'm interested. I just was wanting to make sure that it had some structure to it. That's all I was just trying to bring up. And that it wasn't just kind of willy-nilly.
No, of course. Yeah, no. Everyone here is incredibly professional.
I got in here late. What was your action item or your agenda item?
It's just number 3. If we should even, if there's an interest in us rolling this out as a pre-reality concept and going to bigger brands and asking them about sponsoring it, right? And then we would lay it out like a reality series, but real, and inviting the whole collective's audience to come and be part of the conversation, be part of the journey, right? Have an opinion too, like be interactive with us, right? Because right now, no one else is doing these behind the closed doors meetings live, right? And it's interesting. It's an interesting concept, right? But there's no reason to keep moving forward with the agenda item until we know if people in the collective are interested in it, to do any more work on it or energy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be a good time, I know from me, to get a clear understanding of what we're interested in. So right. This is kind of like my first call to be on, and I love the fact that it's live because I love being live. But the concept,
we all like to be alive.
Live. I like to be live. Like someone say, "Hey, Strick, we got another opportunity for you to have a live show." Guess what? I'm there. That being said, being there for a collective of, I know we have 11, started at 10, have 11. Is there a number of?
We actually have 12 now, actually.
12?
Yeah.
Is there a number of content creators we're trying to get to? And then with that, I know the concept of egos aside, but basically everybody will have a 30 to 60 minute show on the YouTube channel, 100 TV. And from there, because what we're doing in my mind and my understanding is kind of counter to the YouTube algorithm with us having these variety shows. So we're going to have to find other ways to, I guess, to monetize it and then to advertise it. But if you have 12 content creators that are doing their job to market it. I mean, before we had a live show, but we got a live show today, but without having like a programmed show, you really could have subscribers or subscriber base based off of the content creators that are involved in it. We just have to figure out, hey, what is our direction? And then what is the goal?
I mean, just where the number 100 came from is the idea of 100 original shows a week. So I would like, eventually we grow to 100 creators. Think about the combined reach of all those people. Think about their different audiences that they would bring, who would subscribe to the channel, who would watch their playlists.
It's a streaming network. It's
yeah,
like a streaming TV network.
And it doesn't have to stop at 100, but that was just, a thought that, but for something like this series, once we agree to do it, and let's say we sign with a sponsor, whatever, then who's ever in the group at that time will be on this project, and anybody else who wants to join the network would probably join after, in terms of they would start with the May 1st launch, right? Because we can't, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could integrate people in prorate or whatever. We'd have to figure out how to do that. But I would imagine we pitch the series and then we agree, okay, this series is starting. You have a sponsor. We're going on this date. The people who are in and sign that or whatever are the people who are going to do that series, and everybody else who joins would be joining to just do the sort of the regular network thing when it launches on May 1st.
Yeah.
And the series is egos aside.
Correct.
Yeah. And I think too, I mean, like the authenticity around why we're doing this network is because the algorithms are hurting the solo shows, right? If there's going to be a point, this is just my 2 cents. There's going to be a point where networks are going to start popping up everywhere because the content creators are going to be like, I'm not getting the numbers I used to. I can't rise to the top like I used to, which hurts us. It hurts the brand, right? And the sponsorship and other things that are buying into us, right? And so this idea of coming out of the gate and being authentic and saying, pull up a seat to this whole gig, and we're telling you why we're doing this. I mean, it's not kumbaya. This is the first reason. It's a strategy. It's a strategic business move. And we want to come out of the gate first, right? We want to be the first out of the gate, right? And then we want to prove to the marketplace, see, this is how you can get the numbers. This is how you can do it. And by the way, why don't you come along for the ride and watch all the drama, the ups and downs, what it's like to get this off the ground, right? Because there will be drama.
Okay, guys, I want to say this, and it's not a slight in any way to anybody or any idea. I want to be sure I haven't missed it. So you guys are saying that there's no other variety YouTube channels that would be something we could look at as far as having several content creators that are on a network channel on YouTube?
No, we're talking about this right now, that we're doing meetings live.
Okay, just the meetings live portion of it.
Just that portion of it.
Behind the scenes of actually developing a network variety channel.
Yeah.
I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm following now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there's no like that authenticity of being real and putting this out there and letting anyone come and watch these content creators like the ups, the downs, the whys, the strategies, like how you start putting it all together.
And the different characters, and I'll be the character.
Yeah.
I'll be the character of the guy that didn't have a clue. You can just put the guy that didn't have a clue. He's that character.
We know what character Lee is. He's already told us what character.
Exactly.
Drink the entire time. And so
Let's just here for the beer.
Yeah, he's going to be boozing it up the whole time, and we're going to be like, "Where's my cocktail?" Kind of thing. And that's the idea. We haven't identified this being done yet. this part of it yet.
So let me take just a couple of minutes here, real quick, just to kind of give you guys kind of my perspective on this whole thing. Joy, I think it's a really unique idea to be able to do something with reality TV mind, in mind with reality TV. That is definitely where things are heading. I think from a production and a content and a value point of view, I think it would be the kind of thing where you'd either have to double down on it, and it would be more than what we're doing in a call, or it's probably not going to have the value we think it will, only because the reality shows that you see when you watch Survivor, they've got 36 cameras rolling around. When you watch anything on Bravo, you've got people who are getting in cat fights, and then they're sitting back on their green screen going, yeah, I knew they were going to say that. And that context and that story is literally wrapped throughout all of that. And so if we're assuming that somebody watching right now is going to be able to figure out where we're at when we can't even quite figure out where we're at, I think there could be a misunderstanding that maybe the value is higher than it might really be. I think the idea is really cool, but then you take that whole project you're talking about and set it aside for a second. Does that end up in any way delaying the work that needs to be done toward May and maybe even into May to be able to get ready for something like that? And so those are the kind of the two thoughts that I've got. And then the third part of that is, Ross, what level of production quality and vibe are we really going for here? Because it's a streaming network. Content creators are not TV people. There's no knock. There's no totem pole. But there's a quality difference between talking head video from, a room in your house versus being on a sports arena or whatever, a music venue, those kind of things. And the reason I say that is that I think sometimes we believe in our stuff a lot more than maybe other people see value in, because I think that talking head is great, but when you watch TV, there's a lot more story. They're actually out and showing what's going on rather than talking about what's going on. A lot more work involved. And so I think those kind of questions kind of need to be resolved before you really can make a strong decision on what level you want to go for, how soon do you want to get there, and then on top of that, you want to build kind of the mini series in the middle of it. I think all the ideas are good, but I think you're biting off a big donut there.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say this. Okay, we just had a viewer just say we're being too polite. So let's get real. Okay, to Jeffrey's point here, right? A couple things. One is what we're doing right now is boring to me. Okay, we would have to bring in. We want to bring in B rolls. We want to drop in all this other kind of stuff into all this. It's just more exciting, right? So I feel like that's where we're all heading, anyways, right? The other thing too is
I gotta jump, yo. Bye.
Bye, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you. The other thing too is we could, to your first 2 points, the two things. One is this isn't going to be traditional reality with scripts and five teams of crews. That then we should just pitch this to Bravo if that was the case. But this wouldn't work for Bravo anyways, right? So this would be this is taking the model and turning it on its head, right? And then the other thing too, as an easy fix is that we could do an intro bumper video at the front of each of the episode series where it catches everyone up.
Sure.
Okay? So excuse me.
I was just going to say, I think that kind of idea makes a lot of sense, Joey, to be able to, help the narrative along where you can. What would you all say to the idea of recording the content we're talking about, recording some of the private sessions and things, but make this a series that would air like in September, once things are up and running and there's been time to navigate that story, create those storylines, and put something out that's actually a lot easier, I think, for people to follow. And I agree with you. If you're doing all the work of going to Bravo, then why are you doing it here? But I think the flip side is that that's why Bravo is very powerful in their reality shows, because they're doing a lot of work, right? And so my only concern is, can you get the same value or near value without really going that far? And it's sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But
okay, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud because we're all being too polite. Okay, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. We're talking about competing in our arena. We're not talking about competing against TV. We're not talking about competing against production houses. We're talking about what we're doing collectively, individually, right? if we take too much time, okay, somebody else is going to come along with half the talent that this group has, and they're going to get a sponsor because they're going to be the first to market and they're going to be the first out there. They're not going to think about half the production things that we have the capability of thinking about, and we have the capability of doing live, under the gun, with our media knowledge, and get it done on a tight deadline. Somebody else is going to come along who isn't all that good at this, but they're going to go to a sponsor, because I can see who's getting sponsored for shows and for events and things like that, and they don't have half the ability to even turn on a webcam that most of us have, let alone all the things we're looking at. So if we get out and do this, and we're the first mover, we set the pace, we get a sponsor, we get interest, we can take some of that money down the road and then elevate our production level and elevate the next time to be better. But we want to get in the door, and for the businesses that are trying to reach independent creators and the independent creators' audience, they're saying, how can I reach it? If they're throwing money at events, they're throwing money at different things, they don't know where to go to reach this audience. We're bringing our collective audiences together, and we're saying, here's a way. And if the numbers aren't all there on the first run through, there's repurposing, there's shorts, there's videos, there's all sorts of things. We can repackage this later. But I think the opportunity is there to see what we can sell the potential of it. And then if we sell the potential of it, then we execute on it to the best of our ability. And how could it not be good with the people here? I mean, this is a meeting about having a meeting. I mean, it's not that interesting. But when we get down to it, this is the work we're going to have to do anyway. We're going to have to edit videos. We're going to have to make all the promos and the branding language and all this stuff. A financial services business can't do this on a live stream. Any regulated industry can't do this. We're lucky because as solo creators in the media industry, we can put this stuff out there. Of course, we'll have a few rules and regulations, but I think this is a winner. And I think the faster we move, the faster we have a chance of monetizing this. And then that sets up as an intro to really push that, hey, we've arrived, we've got this network, it's happening, we're transparent, we're showing behind the scenes like nobody else. I mean, a lot of people will look up to us and say, hey, they're doing it, let's watch this and figure out maybe we could do it ourselves. Then when we launch our shows, we've already got momentum, we've got energy, and we have a precedent of having a sponsor.
And the thing is, in the to Jeffrey's point, right, two things. One, we don't want to get into long form production. I mean, that's a whole other monster. You know what I mean? Like, we got lots going on. But to Jeffrey's point, the fix could be, right, because he brings up an excellent point. We could do an intro reel. We could do an intro video bumper per each show, right, that sets things up, which would go back to Lee's point, where he wants structural storytelling, which is fabulous. And then we could be, because you know what I mean? Like, we'd have to do one, then we could do that. We could roll it in, brand it, right? Set it all up in the structural point. And then that sets the tone for the next one. And then the next one, then the next one, then the next one.
We want all of that.
Right.
But I'm saying we have to act soon, I think. In my opinion, acting soon.
The team, if you guys want us to even put any more energy into this, because I'm not going to put any more energy into anything because I'm busy, like y'all, right? And until the team tells us if they want to, and Ross, if they don't, then we're not doing it. We're not going to do it.
That's fine. And we get ready for May 1st.
And I think I think so far from what I'm hearing, I think people have bought into the concept and we've all bought into the idea. I'm not speaking for everybody. I think Jeff and I agree. The issue is maybe from us, maybe from our perspective, we're listening for that log line, that script that says, okay, this is how this is going to go. Okay, great. Now I get it. But I think that's the problem, is we all basically agree that there's a place for reality TV. But right now, all we're seeing is obviously based on the questions.
That's why
We think this is it. And you're saying, no, this is not it.
No, we had to put it on an agenda item, Lee.
Of course, yeah.
Rick hasn't weighed in. Jeffrey hasn't weighed in. Jim hasn't weighed in. Right?
Yeah, let me go because I've got a couple thoughts.
No one. We've only heard from two of you guys.
Welcome, Jim, by the way. Jim, Jim and Jeff, tell everybody what your show's going to be on 100 TV.
Jeff, you go first.
I'm doing all bowling all the time, 24/7.
Early days of ESPN.
I put in for an idea that
now my Indian test patterns got competition.
Well, I had thought about, I told Ross I wanted to do a show called Streamweek, and Lee and I know each other, and we were thinking about doing something like that. But I'm actually thinking about doing a show that I do in my private Facebook community called Profiles, which is an interview format show that really kind of, it's not like 60 minutes. I can send you a link to it. But real quick, before I forget, Ross, I want to tell you, number one, I think we all believe in the value of this. There's no question about that. It's the how part of it that I think is really where it works. So I want to, instead of me, talking and it being irrelevant, let me just give you an idea that might be kind of cool for this. Joey, what do you all think about capturing these stories, but they're created as 5-minute segments that are spiced throughout the ad blocks within when a show ends, and it basically, rather than being its own standalone giant thing, you've got these little things where you're giving peeks into the network as it was being developed or as it is being developed, but the scope is lower and the conversation is maybe on a singular point or something like that. And then maybe you get, like you talked about, somebody after the fact saying, okay, I didn't really get it, but now I do, and this is really great. There may be a way to do that. The only thing I worry about is that, Ross, and I love you because we're close, but I think there is a difference between saying you're going to compete at this level and this level, because the truth is you're going to compete against everything above and below you on a timeline. It's not necessarily TV, but even YouTube. You take TV and broadcast completely out of it. You look at Pete McKinnon and a lot of these other shows, people are doing stuff that's freaking crazy good. So there has to be some level of understanding maybe where we fit. And I know we're all starting. It's no knock or anything, but maybe there's a way we can work this in as the kind of thing that's knitted throughout all the shows each week. There's like these little interstitial blocks of 5 minutes that carry something in between a show starting and a show ending or something like that, instead of it being this thing that becomes a behemoth that kind of interrupts everything. But with that, I will yield the rest of my time to the great gentleman from Dealcasters.
Hey, before anybody goes, I've got to bail here for a little bit because my wife, I have to drive her to go pick up her car at the shop before they close. So there are other items on this agenda here that I really wanted to get involved in. I'm hoping I'll make it back in time, but I'm gonna have to go do that before they close up shop.
Yeah, we're probably going to wrap up within 15 minutes, but let's make a point to discuss those maybe in the Facebook group or in another forum, or we come back in next week. Either one. But maybe sooner than later. Let's talk offline and figure out how to address those then. Okay, Rick?
Hey, Rick, thanks for your input.
Sure.
Thanks, Rick.
Later.
Cheers, Rick. Every time we say about it, we should say cheers to Rick.
Cheers.
I love that he's a wine guy. Like, cool, dude.
I don't know. I'm tired of people whining all the time.
I hear you. I think I'm gonna jump pretty soon, you guys, because I have to go. But I think the bottom line is when Ross said let's go live, I was like, let's start monetizing now too. Let's not wait, because when you wait and you wait to monetize, it takes the buzz out of then it's a hobby. You know what I mean? And it's that kind of thing. And so we were looking at it, and I was like, when I was on the other side of the table, if someone would have presented me with this, I might have bitten, because I would have been like, oh, at least that's interesting. Oh, you guys can guarantee me numbers, because that's all my bosses want to know, numbers. That's all they want, right? It's a business, right? Like anything. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You guys can bring this many numbers or something, and no one's done it before. And it's like this new reality, like cool, hip, like, oh, and you're going to tell us your secrets. I might have at least taken a look at the pitch, I don't know if I could have sold the pitch, but I would have taken a look at it. And I think to the point was it's just like with anything in this arena, if you don't start looking for the dollar sign early, right, and you wait too long, it starts burning the content creators out, because it's another job, it's another show, right? And we're making off of our shows, we're making money already. Like, however you're doing, everyone has their own business model here. You know what I mean? Right. And so to that point, that's where this came. That's where I was like, we were looking at it from that point of view, not long term, not for the next 2 years, just to kickstart this thing so that Ross could at least have something to pitch, to bring on a promoter so everyone could start getting paid. So when you're building out your content, you're not like, okay, that's another $250 I could have been working for this. That's the mindset. That was the strategy.
Works for me.
Okay. Lee,
I agree with you 100%. You're absolutely right. If we're not making money, why the hell are we doing this? So I'm with you, Joey.
Why are we doing it? It doesn't make sense.
Right. I'm with you.
All right, Lee. So, okay, that's cool. Jodi, what do you think, sister, before I jump?
I am game for whatever you guys are game for.
You know, the problem with Jodi is she's just too damn agreeable. We got to piss her off somehow.
I'm here to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. That's what my role is here. So
I think I figured out how to get Jodi mad. Jodi, can you write the script yourself?
Yeah. She's like, I hate
that'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah.
I can't think of anything. Jodi, you just write the script. You know what you're doing.
Right?
You've done so many of these. Just
yeah. I don't write
that
the
must
scripts.
be your favorite, right?
Yeah, exactly. Seriously though, I don't write the scripts. That's not. I can help if someone needs, inspiration, or they need to, spitball with someone about it. I'm fine with that. But yeah, typically, if there's a structure,
inspiration I got, time I don't.
Yeah, and the way to look at this too is, don't overthink the production side of things, right? It's supposed to be raw. That is the way everything started in the beginning, even with the YouTubers.
But you got to be careful. You got to remember we're production people, so that's ingrained in us. So that's the problem.
I'm just saying, this whole idea of it has to be like, then that's traditional media. Like, who cares about that? Like, I don't.
Well, I guess I feel like we're talking about two different things in a way. There's if you want to call it this reality TV sort of thing where people are getting to share in what we're going through to come up with this. But I think when it comes to each of our shows, which we're on the hook to produce, I think, like, for me personally, that's kind of what I'm more concerned about. Like, I'm not a reality TV person. I don't watch it. I don't care about it. So, it's not something that makes me jump on YouTube. I get it.
Jim, I've been in reality for a long time, and it sucks. It's much better to do something fantasy.
Can I just mention also that in a lot of the really, professional productions, this is what I've been fighting against. That's why I started my own podcast. The sound is often the last thing people think about. Yeah. So we automatically, if we're thinking about that, we're better than a lot of the productions that are professional out there, So I don't think that it has to be perfect by any means, but we should think about how it sounds, because people will forgive bad video. Yes. They won't forgive bad sound.
Correct.
Right. And what we have in our corner is everyone's a professional already in here. No one's green. There's not one person in this network that's going to be green. They wouldn't be able to handle it. You cannot bring in someone brand new to the network. It won't work. Right. Because they'd be like, what? How many shows? And what am I supposed to do? And like, this is what we do in a weird way, some of us, for a living, at this point, right? So listen, I'm going to table this agenda because I need to go. I have to go now.
Go ahead and let the dogs out.
I know I have to go take care of my puppies.
You were talking. I got to tell you real quick, as you're talking about that, that's exactly what popped up. I'm thinking of a reality show. I'm thinking B-roll of you with the puppies, playing with them, dealing with that whole thing. That's immediately what I thought of when you started talking about this.
Well, Joey make it. She's got the puppies. What does she make it on?
Dogs. I inherited them, and they're so cute.
Aw.
They're this big. They're Shih Tzus. They are so cute. But he spoiled them. He was retired. He could be with them all the time. Now they're like, where have you been? Like, I've been on a live talking about a potential reality show. So listen, I love you. I love you. I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Right, thanks,
Nice to
Joey.
meet you.
Cheers, Joey.
So we got one more agenda item. The other two kind of need Rick to be here, so I'll just throw this one out real quick. When we had started, we had talked about not using our real estate on this channel to promote our other businesses and our other content, so that everything would feed back into the channel and the network. And I was talking to somebody who was thinking of joining, and he was like, wait, I can't promote my website. I can't. So I thought I would just throw it out here because I don't know if anybody's thought about this or how anybody feels.
It's my hot topic I want to talk about.
Okay.
If this is the way it's going to be, I'm out. That's pretty much it. Look, that's who I am. I need to be able to promote my other products now, not in lieu of this, but that's what brought us all here together. So I think it's silly to think that we're not going to promote our other products or shows or whatever. Because then that's like saying, I don't know, you're a personality and you can't do other shows or other interviews. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because in one aspect, as an example, we're all creating content that has to stay on this network for a year that we can't use in other places.
Correct.
And so I think that, I would agree with Lee. Like, I should be able to say, hey, if you want to connect with me, you can also find me here, because right now, this isn't going to be 24/7. This is going to be, theoretically once a week, you're going to see new content from each of us. So they're supposed to wait 7 days before they try to interact with us. That doesn't completely make sense to me.
I just don't think there's competition.
Right.
It doesn't seem like there's competition, because all of the stuff that's going to be on this network is going to be unique. So if someone wants to see the stuff that's on this network, they have to come to this network.
And I want to be able to promote the network in my other shows too. That makes sense too. So it works both ways.
And that's one of the things we already talked about. If you're going to have 100 content creators, allowing them to use their social media and their contacts to talk about 100 TV is a big deal.
Of course.
So,
but
in my
going
mind,
the other way is okay too with everybody. Then everybody's
yeah,
okay
I
with
would
people
definitely-
sharing
I would,
their
if I'm
own
on another
links and-
show, right? I'm going to say, hey, come catch my show on Mondays on 100 TV, and on 100 TV, I'd say, hey, make sure you catch Dealcasters, or we'll be on Amazon whatever day, because that's gonna bring people both directions, right? And people,
and then now stay tuned for DJ, who's up next, and then Bridgetti and Lee coming up this afternoon or whatever, so that we also feed into, like, there's a reason to stay on, or hey, if you enjoyed the show, I've got a playlist on the channel of all my content. So there'll be like a healthy mix, I think, of both. I just want to throw that out there, because the first thought was, here's one other issue, I guess, related to this. I think with affiliate links, I think we have to be careful, because I'm kind of the feeling that we don't promote affiliate links, because if everybody's sharing their XYZ link, right? We're all affiliates of some of the same companies, then what motivation would they have to advertise on the channel, if on the network, if we're already giving it to them?
I think that makes sense. I mean, I completely understand that on the
network, because that
network,
would be just like a $5 sale or something.
Yeah.
I don't think. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, no, on the network itself, like as an example, I'm not going to say, hey, if you want to get this microphone, just go in the description and there's my, Amazon. We don't do that when we're on this network, because we're specifically working with sponsors. But if you're on your other stuff, have at it, right? And and I think that was kind of the conversation we had before. We won't say names since at the moment, but if you're talking about these different live streaming software companies, right? We'll just use that as a term. we have to be careful about saying, because we may find, right, that for the shows we're producing on this network, we want to use a certain product. And I don't want to have my hands tied because it's like, oh, well, we have to use this one because they're sponsoring us.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I don't think we would have to use maybe for if we had a sponsor for the live stream thing, we might want to live stream with that product if that product sponsored us.
Yeah,
but
Jim,
I think if
you
a
don't
product
have to- you don't have to use
sponsors
a
the
product, we have
network,
to wear a hat and a shirt. Sorry.
you can create with whatever you want to create with.
Well, also, let me ask you a quick question about this, because one of the things
Sure.
to me that differentiates the term network from what we've seen traditionally over the years is that in between shows there is content, right? That's why I was saying maybe you can build vignettes of these little, conversations and conflicts. Maybe that's the kind of thing. Maybe there's, in addition to a show, people, have the ability to produce, or it's done at a network level where they all look the same, where it's this content creator, this is where you can find them, that kind of thing, and there's a call to action maybe for them in that sense.
Yeah.
I think that makes it feel more like what people are used to. Love TV or hate TV, it is how we've learned how to ingest our information. And I think that there's something to be said for, rather than just a playlist like on YouTube, just click into the next, it would be nice to have some content in between there that even if it's just a minute's worth, it would give it a little bit of a, obviously the network logo pops in the top of the hour or whatever it might be. But I think those are the kind of things that's going to make it feel a little bit more bolder and bigger. But, I don't know what, you all are thinking.
I would love that. And I think one of the things that you mentioned last week that really hit home with me was you talked about like having little clips and whatever. And like, I think we could have and again, given the amount of work we all have, I think this kind of thing is kind of be like, you want to grab a 5-minute clip or a 1-minute clip from your show and throw it into the sort of best of clips of the day or whatever. It's up to you, right? We don't have somebody who can just be sitting around all day watching every show and grabbing the hot clips and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I think it would be a blast every now and then. Like, let's say, I don't know, we're rerunning some shows or whatever, and then all of a sudden we have a half an hour that's nothing but clips of like, boom, 30 seconds from this show and 30 seconds from that show and 30 seconds, like just the coolest, most impactful moments or whatever. Maybe it's a 5-minute clip
I got a great concept. How about
5 shows or whatever.
TV network shorts? That's never been done before, right?
Nobody's ever done shorts before.
No, that would be so.
We could be the first
Only
one.
1 minute though.
But we could also, like, we could even do a shorts where we run shorts in between or something like that, and then like, hey, you enjoy this? We also have a shorts playlist or whatever. Check out more. I think there's a lot of different things we can do at the network level, definitely. And while we're starting with YouTube, there's also the network possibility that over time, perhaps we think about distribution elsewhere. But in the beginning, I got to go where the eyeballs are. I think.
I think Lee, do you feel like the answer to the question, I guess, as long as we get that in writing, works for you as well? It's like, as long as we're able to promote our stuff outside of these affiliate links.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. You can kick me off if you want, but if it makes sense, I'm going to do it. I mean, why would I not? I'm here to support the network 100%, but I got my own business too. So, you got to use your own common sense. I'm not going to promote something that's off network that competes. That would be silly. If I'm on network, then it should be a network oriented thing. That's the way it works.
Well, we definitely.
I'm okay with it.
All right, we'll just keep a close eye, and when you file,
you guys going to want to watch me.
Is it going to be 3 warnings or just 2? And then,
well, is there a standards committee? What do they call it? Standards and practices committee. We're going to have to. There's a whole nother committee we're going to have now.
You're going to have to submit your show to the lawyers first.
Oh God, lawyers.
Right. We've been here 90 minutes, so
Strick had a.
Go ahead,
Strick had a question.
Yeah, what I want to say is, you want to have parameters, and I also want to say we don't want to have a ton of parameters. I really feel like people being free and it being an open environment is one thing, to feel like, hey, I got a show that I could do what I want to do, promote myself, because in the beginning, guys, you know, we're all trying to grow this together. But
Right.
at the same time, you do want to be sure that across the board, if we have sponsors, that sponsors, because of the money aspect that everyone will be getting from, you know, you want to be sure that we protect ourselves individually and as a group.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree. You don't want to use the network to promote your own agenda and off the network. I think we're all in agreement in that.
I think my main concern was the using affiliate links for products that we may want to have as sponsors.
So what do you think about this? If you're in shows on the network, then you have to use network affiliates. If you're off the network, you can do your own network.
Right. And so if somebody becomes a sponsor and they have an affiliate program, or they say we'll give you an affiliate, we have one affiliate link for the whole network.
Yeah.
Everybody puts that in their description, can put it on their show, and at the end of the month, we divvy up whatever commissions we earn. Everybody gets an equal share of it for the network. And then on your own channels, use your own affiliate link and keep it all for yourself. But on the network channels, like, somebody either has to sponsor, or there's an especially attractive affiliate that we go, okay, they're not sponsoring, but this is so good that it's maybe worth all of us, you know, coming together and getting a really good rate. But in general, I think we want to go for sponsorships over affiliates. But definitely, like, when somebody's a sponsor, if they have an affiliate link, and we'll use that link for the network and have everybody have a chance to put it in their description or whatever.
I can agree with that, because in the end, you still get paid from it.
Right, which is the goal.
Right.
All right, guys. Thank you all. This has been fun. Thanks to everybody watching. Beauty Bubble.
Strick, how can I get in touch? Are you on the Facebook group?
Jenny.
I am in there.
All right, I'll
hit you
reach
up.
out to you. We can kind of coordinate. I'll send you some links, some stuff that I'm looking at.
Sounds good.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Good seeing you.
everyone.
See you.
Bye.